Well, good evening. My name is Tony Zarkades, or Tony Z for short. I'm running for Congress in the 48th District. Thanks to OCCA for this forum tonight. We're here to talk climate, so I'm going to do just that, and I apologize in advance to the professors and the scientists in the room, because this is probably going to be pretty basic for them. But the Earth currently has and has been for a very long time has had the right amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. As a result, our average global temperature has been moderate for thousands of years. If you want to know what the wrong amount of CO2 can do to a planet, you can look at Venus, a dead planet that has too much CO2 and is very, very hot. Or you can look at Mars, another dead planet that has too little CO2 and is very, very cold. Neither planet is suitable to human life, or any life at all for that matter. At one time, the Earth had the wrong amount of CO2, and the planet was uninhabitable to humans. In fact, for the most of the Earth's 4.4 billion years of existence, the planet has been uninhabitable to human life. Do we really want to see if we can make the Earth unsuitable for human life again? A lot of Americans confuse the terms weather and climate, including some people who sit in Congress and carry snowballs to the floor. Weather represents the short term and the localized. Climate, on the other hand, represents the long term and a global scale. So for a database on climate to be accurate, it needs to be long term and it needs to be global. Humans have only been recording temperatures around the world for 100 years or so, and other records of rain and temperature have been localized as well. Also, 3/4, as we know, of the Earth's surface is covered by water, and that is not a place people are typically going to record data. But natural archives going back hundreds of years, and they can be observed, but there are natural archives going back hundreds of years, and they can be observed by a trained eye all around the globe, in lake sediment, ice cores, trees, and coral. From these, we can deduce global temperature and rainfall record that go back hundreds of years, and we can determine the makeup of our atmosphere hundreds of thousands of years ago from air bubbles fossilized in glaciers that exist today. So we should be very wary of regional anomalies, such as Greenland, that have been pointed out by climate change deniers, as this is fake science. Charles Keeling, and some people in here probably know that name, has been measuring CO2 in the atmosphere since he was a young man. He is now an old man, and he measured CO2 from an 11,000-foot mountaintop in Hawaii, surrounded by volcanic rock and little else. He has essentially taken and recorded the respiratory system of the Earth. And the Keeling curve tells us that the composition of the Earth's atmosphere is being changed by humans, almost like the blood sugar or blood pressure levels in an aging and unhealthy person. And I know what most Americans don't know. An indisputable physical property of CO2 is that it blocks the transfer of infrared energy, or heat, just like methane gas and water vapor do. But clouds only stay in the atmosphere for a day or two, while CO2 stays in the Earth's atmosphere for hundreds of years before being absorbed into the ocean. Are there natural causes that change the global temperature? Of course. That's how climate has changed over millions of years before the Industrial Revolution. But natural causes account for 1/10 of a degree over 100 years, not the much larger changes we have experienced since the late 1800s. Why does the U.S. need to be a leader in climate change? Because we use 1/4 of the world's energy, and we're a country of just 320 million. China has 1.4 billion. India has 1.3 billion. If they start using energy the way Americans do, we're going to be in big trouble. I think it might be time for a change. I think you should vote for Tony Z.